Okay, we'll just pick up from where we left off. Okay, so again, recap. For every scale, you have a 0, you have numbers to the left and the right, and then you're gonna have some of the increments for either left or right are gonna be larger spaces and smaller spaces. The larger spaces are feet, the smallest spaces are inches. We know that we need to get 12 inches, 2 equals a foot, 12 inches equals a foot. So I know that from 0 to this last line, it's 12 inches because it's a foot. So I need to figure out what are the value of one of each line that I have here in this case. So if I count them, I'm gonna get 24. That tells me that the increments go up by half, 1, 1.5, 2, all the way through. Okay. Now I was gonna share this in the previous video, and I'll show you right now. If you want to get technical and just visual, for example, let's say I don't know what this is between here. I don't know. Well, if I measure from 0 to 1, and let's say let me do it with a pen. From 0 to 1, it's up to, well, it's hard to see with a camera angle. It's up to there where my thumb is. Well, it should be exactly from 0 to that first increment. In other words, the space from 0 in that line is the same from 0 to this first line, which tells me this is a foot. Why? Because 12 inches right here. That means this is 12 inches because the same distance. So that's a foot. 2 feet, 3 feet, so on. Okay. All right. So remember, you need to get 12 inches from this space right here. It doesn't matter how many lines you have. It really doesn't matter. You need to just know that you need to figure out, or you need to get 12 inches from 0 to this last line. In the half scale, you have 24. That means, if you do the math, that means that each one of those lines is half an inch. Okay. Now, half inch, it's a little bit larger scale, so it gives you more space to measure in between. That's why it gives you to measure halves. As you keep on going on a smaller scale, you cannot measure to halves. Why? Because the drawing is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So you can't measure like to half an inch. That's just common sense. Well, I'm gonna go over just the 1 inch scale just to show you the difference. So in a quarter scale, we know that it's one of these lines equals half inch. Why? Because I have 24 lines, and I can do the math, or I can count one by one and figure out what I have. Now what I do, same thing as in a full scale, I break it down in halves. It just, I mean, it makes it more logical for me. So in other words, if I know that from 0, this is 0 and this is 12, I look in the middle, that automatically tells me this is 6, right? And if from 0 to this, if this is 6, that tells me this right here is 3. And if from here to here is 0, from here to 0 to here is 3, see these long ones right there? That tells me that's 1 and that's 2. But I still have more, so that tells me that those are halves. So I do it visually. If it helps you, go for it. Remember, 12 right here, right in the middle, 6, right in the middle, 3, and then I have 2 long lines in between 0 and this right here, which I know is 3, so that tells me this is 2, this is 1, and I have another line between that tells me that's half, so it goes by halves. Let me go on this side. See here, we have a lot more lines. See, and again, from 0 to the end, you need to get 12 inches. Why? Because it's a foot. And same thing I told you, that I showed you right now. If I were to measure from here to here, it's going to be the same distance as from here to here, which equals a foot. You see it right there. Or if I measure from here to the 6, is the same measurement as from 0 to where the 20 is. Why? Because that's right in the middle between 0 and a foot, that's 6 inches. 0 and a foot, that's 6 inches. Okay. Now, I don't know how many lines we have here, and I'm not going to count them because there's too many lines, and it's going. I mean, it tells me, right? 3 inches, 6 inches, 12 inches. I'm sorry, 3 inches, 6 inches, 9 inches, 12 inches, which equals a foot. 0 all the way to 12. I'm gonna follow, instead of me doing all the math, I wanna know it goes in increments of what. And again, if I know if from here to here is 3 and I have 2 longer ones, that tells me that this is 1, this is 2 because that one's 3, that's 4, 5, and 6, and so on. So if I know that's 3, okay, I know that's 2, I know that's 1, So I'm going to concentrate in the space between 0 and 1. I'm going to go, what's between 0 and 1? There's a long line right here. That's half. So 0, between 0 and 1, half. But I still have another line in between. So these are quarter. So I know just by looking at this that this go in increments of 1/4 of an inch. Fourth, half, 3/4, 1. 1 1/4, 1 1/2, 1 3/4, 2. 2 1/4, 2 1/2, 2 3/4, 3. Okay, so you break it down. Okay? I hope this is making sense. Now let's look at the quarter and the eighth, and then I think that should be enough for you to, and then we'll do some lines so you can see how to use it actually. All right, here we have, again, we have 0, you have to look for 0. And then we have lines on larger increments to the left in this case, and smaller increments or spacing to the right. So I know that the big ones are the feet, the small ones are the inches. So I don't know which numbers I'm going to use, the top one or the bottom ones. Well, if this is 0 and this is 98, the top ones, I'm sorry, 92, I'm sorry, and then this is 88, well, I'm not using the top ones. Why? Because they're going down. And so if I'm starting from 0, the numbers have to pick up. So I'm going to use the bottom numbers. So if this is 0 and this is 2, that tells me that the one in between, it's 1. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And you're going to say, well, there's lines in between, right? If this is 1, you have a line there and a line there. Well, that can help me. If it's in the middle, that tells me this is 6 inches. This is 1. This is 1 and 6. This is 2. This is 2 and 6 inches. This is 3. This is 3 and 6 inches, and 4. All right. If it helps you. If not, don't worry about it. Just make sure you understand the spacing. If from here to here is 2, that means that right in the middle, that's 1. If from here to here is 4, that means right in the middle, that's 3. Again, these are feet. These are feet. Now, these are inches. If I were to count each one of these lines, I'm going to find, in this case, I guess it's going to be the easy one. I'm going to find 12 lines. Now, I'm not going to count them. I'm going to go the same concept that I told you. If I know this is 0 and this is 12, I'm going to go right in the middle, and I know that's 6. All right. If I know this is 6, then I'm going to go between 0 and 6, find the middle, and I know that's 3. Right? Simple math. So if this is 3 and I have 2 lines to the left, that means that's 2 and that's 1. So on the quarter scale, I now know that they go up in increments of an inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 inches, which equals a foot. So on a quarter scale, it goes up in increments of an inch. Okay, why? Because I need to go 12 inches from here to here. I have 12 lines. That means that each line equals an inch, because I need 12 inches to equal a foot. All right, next one. Again, if it's not clear, send me an email or just write it down and we'll go over it in class. Now the eighth. Now the eighth, again, it's going to read the inches. The feet are going to read from 0 to the right, and for the inches is going to be from 0 to the left. Now, what numbers I'm going to use? The top one or the bottom ones? Well, I'm going to look. If this is 4, well, this is 46, this is 44, this is 42. That tells me I'm not using the bottom numbers. I'm using the top numbers. Why? Because this is 4, 8, 12. So I know I'm using the top numbers because they're going up, starting from 0. So if this is 4 and this is 0, and I have 1, 2, 3 in between, well, logically or common sense tells me this is 1, this is 2, this is 3 because that's 4. This is 5, this is 6, this is 7 because that's 8. So I'm going to use these are going to be my feet. From 0 this way, each line, it's a foot. Yes? Now, from 0 to the left, in this case, the smaller increments, these are my inches. All right? And remember, you start from 0, and then the last line is 12 inches. But here, since the scale is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, I only have 6 lines. Okay? So again, following the same concept that I showed you, if this is 0 and this is 12, right in the middle, that's 6. And I have 2 more lines. before I get to 0. Or I have 0, 2 lines, and then 6. So logically or by math, I know that this line is 2 inches, 4 inches, because that one's 6. Right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So on the 8th scale, it goes up in increments of 2 inches. So each line equals 2 inches. 2 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches, 8 inches, 10 inches, 12 inches, which equals a foot. Or if I do the math, I'll count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 lines. I need to get 12. That means that each line has a value of 2. So that's how you read it. Remember, you always, from the inch part, you need to get 12 inches from it. Always. On the half, from 0 to here, you need to get 12. The value might change, but you always get 12. Right? Always 12. From here to here, or from 0 to here, 12 inches, and then find the value of each increment. From 0 to this line, 12 inches, and then figure out where the value in between. All right. I'll stop right here, and then I'm gonna show you how to use it. Okay.